Congratulations, you found the one station that plays Ghana's best urban music.
YFM.
Now, White Leaderboard series for my first-time listeners, just like we do, is YFM's innovative radio programming content that was developed to provide inspiration to our listeners and the youth. Now, stats reveal that Ghana's population is young, with about 61% being 30 years and below. And the International Labour Organization, ILO's Youth and Future Workforce Survey shows that about one-third of the youth in emerging and developing countries view their future work life with fear and uncertainty. Why? Because there's so much to learn from. Nobody's really ready to tell you how they did it. The blueprint's no day. YFM is Ghana's #1 youth and urban station. We have year-on-year dominance when it comes to youth radio programming, according to the Geopoll. We therefore deemed it a big responsibility some time ago to add to the bouquet of creative and informative content on our station, a show that will host leaders and achievers in various sectors, and of course industries in Ghana and beyond, in bringing hope, meaning and development, as well as leadership coaching tips to our vibrant listenership. Follow us on radio and then on our digital platforms as well. So we're in for business today for the next maybe hour or half. We'll be talking to my guest. Now, he's a banker with over 10 years working experience in various capacities. Zenith Bank Ghana Limited started as a relationship manager, branch manager, head of manufacturing and commodities units, and head of mining and construction unit. Prior to joining Zenith Bank, he worked with China State Hualong Construction as assistant site engineer with the consortium, a construction consultancy firm, okay? He graduated from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST, with a degree in building technology, and also holds an LLB from the Faculty of Law, University of Ghana, where he graduated with first-class honors and received the Bensi Enchel Award for the best graduating law student. He is a qualified lawyer and currently the managing director of BCI Microfinance Limited, a finance company has been leading since 2012. Selasie Woanyah takes a stand on the show today, and I'm super excited. I mean, before the show started, we had a conversation. I've actually known this man for a while. Knew him when he was at Zenith Bank. Stayed there for a while. So the basic point behind this interview this morning, let me just reiterate that today. We're just sharing the life story of Mr. Woanyah so you can learn something from it. So if you find yourself in the financial space, if you're a legal person, if you have hopes to, make your life better, just lend me your ears for the next hour. Bro, so 1 hour, 30 minutes. You'll be fine. Welcome, boss, and good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on the Leaderboard series this morning. I know, and I mean, let me just say this. You're one of the few that have come in and have actually mentioned that they follow the show. You know some of the people I've been, interviewed in the past. Let me just start off with your general impression about the Leaderboard series. What do you think about the show?
Well, thank you very much, Reverend Eskin, for having me in your studio. DJ Gage, thank you for having me in your studio this morning. I haven't been on radio since 2013.
Wow.
The last time I was on radio was when Choice FM.
Yeah, then Choice FM.
Then Choice FM.
Yeah.
So that should tell you how long ago it was. It's now Star FM, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that was the last time I was on radio. So getting this call up to come and talk about myself on radio was kind of a surprise to me.
I know.
But it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me. The Leaderboard series, I think, is a great idea. You've spoken to a few of the people that I know personally, Abna Brigidi, or Abna Boachi Brigidi from Nimed, Kwesi Aboaje from Bayport. I went to Presec with Kwesi Aboaje. He's a great leader. Abna Brigidi has done phenomenally well with Nimed. We worked together at Zenith for a few years. We started at Zenith the same year, and she also left to start Nimed. She's one of the people who continue to inspire some people like us. Even though we work together, we are age mates, we take a lot of inspiration from her. So giving the opportunity to the youth to listen to people like them, people who have gone through the trenches, who've fought some battles. They haven't fought all the battles, but some battles and have come out victorious. They've lost some, won some. These lessons are important for those who are coming up to listen to. Maybe they may not learn anything from the entire story, but one thing may hit them and make an impression on them and change the course of their lives. So it's a great thing that you're doing. Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad you really understood that, Simon. So let's go straight to business.
Yes.
Let's find out everything about Mr. Woanyah. In the finance field, people know you. I mean, reading through your bio, I saw a lot of your great feats in there. But beyond that, who is Mr. Woanyah? Where were you born? I think I want to find out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was born in a small town in northern Nigeria called Kafanchan.
Nigeria?
Yes, I was born in northern Nigeria. And my dad and my mom were bitten by the Nigerian bug that bit people in the 1970s. They moved just like most Ghanaian professionals then who were looking for greener pastures. Nigeria had just discovered oil and everybody went to Agege. So I think my parents were bitten by the bug as well and went to Agege. So I was born there and started kindergarten there. It was a great time to be to be at that age. And Hausa was my first language.
Oh wow! So
Well, since I came back to Ghana, I lost my Hausa, but I still remember a few things in bits and pieces of it. And growing up there was fun. I grew up with the children in the neighborhood, even though my dad was a teacher at the college, teachers training college in Kafanchan. Or College of Education in Kafanchan. My mom was in university at the time. I grew up with the children in the neighborhood, and we were going out looking for fruits, and I used to mingle with the Fulani kids on their farms, and it was a really great experience. We used to eat things like fula, or what you call in Ghana fula. We in Nigeria call it fuda and nono. And we used to go for, they used to bake cheese and butter. You see how it's made by the Fulani people. We learned what they call wagashi, those things. Yeah, you see all those things made, so learning the Kagoro language and the Hausa language, it was pretty fun for me. I remember those days my dad would come back from work and then fall asleep, and then I would run out of the house and then go and play with my friends till evening, and then when I get back I get whooped for it. At the time my mom was in university, so it was just my dad and I who were together, and it was fun. My dad would take me to Rotary Club meetings, he would take me to the tennis court. So I started meeting people at a pretty young age, so especially at Rotary, I was one of the youngest people who sit in the Rotary meeting, and they actually gave me an accolade, like the youngest member of Rotary ever. Unfortunately, since I grew up, I haven't. I should go back to Rotary. Yeah, I should go back to Rotary. So then, at the time, my elder siblings were all in Ghana, and I was in Nigeria with my parents. So we came back later on in 1988 or 89, and with my mother. On the way to Ghana, we had an accident, and our car somersaulted 3 times, but we survived. And for me, that was one of the things that I remember. I remember that incident, even though I was 5 or 6 at the time. I remember that incident clearly as though it was yesterday, because it had a significant impact on my life. But we survived. We got back to Ghana. We moved to live with my auntie in Akachi, where I started primary school. Yes, in the Volta region, where I started primary school. We lived there for a while. I went to boarding school in Army Preparatory. I was 6, I think, at the time. I went to boarding school. 6 years old in boarding school, you have to do everything for yourself. You have to iron, you have to wash, you have to feed yourself, bath yourself at 6. Oh, there were people who were even younger than me. I had a younger cousin. He was probably 4 or so in boarding school. We were in boarding school at the time. So we were in kindergarten, class 1 in boarding school. In Amazing Love Schools in Denu. And that experience also shaped my life a lot, because then we were 4, 6, and then we had people in JSS 3 in the same space. And these people were 13, 14. And then, because the school was very close to Lomé, we had a lot of older people who were coming over to come and learn English. So you had people who were 17, 18, all in the same space with us. So it was quite an experience, and it was a learning curve, because you had to grow up very quickly. So I didn't have the opportunity to be a 6-year-old, because you can't complain about that. You pick it up and move. You have to make sure that you are dressed to go for assembly in the morning. You have to be ready, wash your things to go to school. Nobody's going to do all these things for you, so that also taught me to be independent. My mom always talks about how independent I am, and that going to boarding school at such an early age taught me to be independent, to take life seriously, and to take life, be responsible for my own life, and that's what I learned from that experience. We then moved. My dad came back from Nigeria and then got a job as a judge. He was a lawyer, whilst he was still teaching in Nigeria. So he came back to Ghana and then joined the bench, became a judge, and so we had to move to Ho. So that's where I started primary school again, continued primary school. Let me say, not in the boarding house. So went to Marley Primary School. Marley Primary School is the best primary school in Ho. Okay, the people in Kabori School, where I went to JSS, who argue with me. So I went to Marley School. I became senior prefect in Marley Primary School. And then for JSS, I moved to Kabori School Complex, the best junior secondary school in the whole of Ghana. Yes. Oh yes. People argue with me, but yeah, that's it. I mean, we had a swell time in Kabori School. I was in school at the time with people like Leila Jansi, and yes, we Kafri Danku, those people were we actually formed a club. We called it the Readers Club, and we used to exchange books. It grew beyond even our school. Yes, we read one and then you give it to somebody else, and then we kept exchanging books, and then this grew into something else. It grew beyond our school to other schools. Dora Memorial, Marley, Jess.
This is something you guys had started.
This is something we started on our own.
Casually.
Then it moved beyond our school, involved other schools. We would then go and have meetings at the whole regional library, and the Volta Regional Library in Ho. We would have club meetings there. People would come, and then this grew into something even bigger. We even had a beauty pageant, which cost us a lot of trouble. Leila, is always in the middle of trouble. I'm sure if she hears this,
I won't be upset.
You won't get into it, isn't it?
No, I won't, because
she'll text me after this.
I like the way you phrased it. She always finds herself in the middle of trouble. I mean, it's not like it's her fault or anything.
No. It's who she is. She's a storm. Leila is a storm. And when she's doing things, she does it with a lot of passion and a lot of...
That's true.
There's a lot of dedication and commitment in everything that she does. So, and a lot of people don't get that. And I get that. She's been my friend for quite a long time.
You understand it.
I understand it. So that's the environment in which we grew up in Kabori School. I became senior prefect in Kabori School for a while, and then I lost it because of trouble, getting into trouble with Leila and all that. So then from there, I went to Presbyterian Boys School.
So that was like all the way from Volta Region to Accra.
To Accra, yes. And I chose Presec because, we used to work the Brilliant Science and Math quiz on Saturdays, and Presec was the top school, And I'm pretty much the non-conformist. Everybody in my family either went to Maoli School, went to Bishop Herman or Keta Secondary. I said, no, I'm not going to do that.
I will do what I want to do.
I do what I want to do. So in choosing a school, I chose Presec. You know, we have three choices.
3 choices.
And I chose, all my 3 choices were Presec. First, second, and third.
That's a very wild one.
Yes, I know. I was so confident I was going to get it. There was no question about it. And, you know, my teachers didn't like the idea. So I decided I'll choose Motown as my second choice, and then Aquinas as my third choice. My Motown guys will not be happy about it. People like my wife will not be happy about it. But I choose Motown as my second choice. And then I got into Presec, studied general arts, and Presec was incredible as well for me. I had a time of my life in Presec as well. I was in more than 4 or 5 clubs. I was singing in the choir, I was in the drama club, I was in the quiz and writers debaters club. I was senior on duty from second year.
Sports?
I didn't do sports.
You didn't do sports, okay.
You know, I used to do sports in JSS, but when I got to Presec, I realized that all the boys were bigger than me, and and the runners were faster than me, and you know, I used to play basketball in JSS,
Okay,
but then by the time I got to SS,
This is
everybody
a
was taller
difference,
than me.
yes.
So I had to,
That was when you realized,
I
no,
realized
it's
that,
a height thing.
It's a height
And I'm
thing.
sure you settled in very easily with regards to the boarding house system, because you had experienced that at a tender age.
yes.
I mean, it
I
had been
mean,
with you before.
A lot of the guys couldn't take boarding school, and I didn't understand it.
It's a part of your life.
I was so cool about going to Presec. The seniors tried to give me nicknames. It didn't work because I knew how to react to nicknames. You know, some people get angry about the nicknames and then it's stuck. Me, when you give me a nickname, I'll accept it, and then you know, and then it just
You learned
just
the
goes.
tricks. Wow. So this was you moving from Volta region. Just from the basic side, from Nigeria to Volta region and staying there for a while, and then senior high school brought you back to Accra here. Around that time, just before we get into the next bit of your journey, did you have any career aspirations, any specific aspirations with regards to what you might want to do with your life in future?
You know, I'll be lying if I said that I actually did.
Okay.
You know, many of us at the time, when they ask you, say, I want to be a doctor, you know, I want to be a pilot, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be in the army, you know, those things. But I don't think we really knew what we were saying. We were just saying, a lot of things. But so I wouldn't say I had a grand scheme of what I wanted to see. I just knew that I wanted to be successful in life. I wanted to make a difference for myself and for my family, you know, and for my people. You know, I wanted to make a difference. I didn't want to conform to the norm, you know, where all the struggles and in life. I didn't want to have that. I just knew I wanted to make a difference for myself and my family and the people around me.
Did you look up to any individual? I mean, career aspirations are on the side, but did you have any role models then? Anybody you looked up to? Anyone with that life, the life that looked perfect for you? I mean, if I like this person out.
I wouldn't say I did. I mean, I'm just being honest.
And modest,
I can't think as far as that point to remember if I had but I don't think I did. I don't think I did. I mean, we used to see Chairman Rawlings at the time was an inspiration for many of us, you know, growing up. He was, you know, we used to sing his songs and all that. But I don't think at the time we had the opportunity to have too many role models beyond our family settings. And so I wouldn't say I did, and I wouldn't say I did.
And so after Presec, after how many years did you spend at Presec? I really get confused. I asked this question because, you know, my system was quite different. You know, my system was just 4 years, but I hear O-level, A-level, you know, all those confusing stuff. How many years did you stay there?
I was present for 3 years.
3 years, okay. So yours was quite shorter.
Yes. So 98 to 2000, I was in Presec.
And then you took a big leap to Ashanti region.
Yes.
You decided to go to KNUST to study. Was this also a result of you wanting to do your own thing?
Exactly. I wanted to do my own thing. Everybody in my family went to Legon, and
the school.
Yeah, I'm an alumnus of alumni of Legon as
So you
well.
accept
So
that too, yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
so
that's
it's okay.
perfect.
It's okay. So I went to tech because I wanted to be, as non-conformist as I've always been. I didn't want to do that, mean that all my classmates wanted to go and do all the sociology, the humanities. I wasn't interested in that. So I was looking for something different. So I looked at tech, and my dad was insisting that I go and study architecture.
Oh, okay, architecture.
But I wasn't really interested. I didn't want to spend 7 years in
Did
school.
you know why your dad wanted you to do architecture? Had he seen anything, any interest?
Thing is, my dad is a professional man, so he's always interested in you doing the profession. Like, you have to have a profession.
Yeah.
So you're either a lawyer, a doctor,
Nothing in
an
between.
architect. Or you can't be a businessman. Like, so when I did BT, before I did the law, when my dad was introducing me to his colleagues, he didn't know what BT was. He said, "Oh, this is my son. He's studying architecture." So the core professions, you had to be one of those. And he was very proud to introduce you to his friends if you were one of those core professions.
Yeah.
So he was insistent on me studying architecture. I wasn't really into spending 7 years in school. I wasn't ready for that.
So you wanted something close to that.
So I wanted something close to that,
But
that was shorter. So I chose BT. I didn't know anything
yeah, I
about
was going to
BT.
ask that. Before that, you had never heard anything about
I'd
BT.
never heard of anything about building technology. I didn't know what it was. To me, I didn't understand it. The first time I got to know what building technology was when we got to the faculty and they started, the whole lectures came and the seniors came and they were taking us through the orientation. That was the only time I got to know what building technology was. And I loved some of the courses. Some of the courses were tough for me.
Yeah.
I'd come from an arts background, and
Yeah.
building technology is a combination of humanities
physics,
and then engineering.
Engineering, yes.
So you are
Physics,
doing
all that stuff.
structures, you are doing strength of materials, and that's pure physics, and mathematics. And I'd come from an arts background.
We were doing the
So-
reading and joining the book clubs and doing the arts
Exactly.
performance and all that.
And all
And
that.
now you had to be strict.
Now
with,
you had to go and do all this science.
How was the
stuff.
switch?
It was tough. I had a tough time with the engineering courses. I mean, I have to be honest. I had a tough time with them, but I flourished with the humanities
The other one.
courses. But the problem was with the engineering courses. But then I put my mind to it, and I graduated with an upper. I studied hard. I had friends, good friends, who
That supported you.
would teach me, who would help me, study and understand all the engineering. Because they were coming from a science background, so it
They
was
were much
pretty
more
easy for
inclined,
them.
yeah.
It was easier for them, but I learnt all that. I struggled and graduated with an upper. We call it a very high upper. A very high upper. So it was a tough time for me in class with those courses, but I managed with dedication, commitment, having good friends, a good support system. I mean, my friends like Niado, Lawrence Thompson, Seloma Dupo, those guys were really helpful in making sure that, I was able to pass well, in those difficult subjects.
So after you passed, what was the reaction from your dad?
Oh, you're still
he was
calling me
still
an
not-
architect. Like, my son would do that.
He still wasn't
I didn't know what
convinced.
building technology. Building technology they are the quantity surveyors.
Okay.
So when the architects design the buildings, you would have to give it to
They're the
a
ones that will
quantity
check and tell
surveyor
you, the
how much
number
it's
of-
going to cost.
Yeah, cement will go in and all
exactly.
that. Okay.
They would do that. So that's what building technology is about. That's just a small part of it.
Yeah.
Then there's construction management. There's the people who manage the construction process.
Are they the foremen?
No. The
Okay.
foremen are people that they would have studied that at, say, maybe MVTI,
Okay.
or those are the technical schools. But where the BT graduate is a construction manager. He's a project manager. He can be a lead project manager. People would say the architect is the natural lead of a project, But these days, with the new kinds of construction management programs available, the quantity surveyor or a BT person can be a project lead.
So you pretty much just bring life to what the architect has designed.
What the architect has designed. You put the cost to it.
Yes.
What the architect and the structure and the civil engineers have designed, you put the cost to it. So we are the ones who are able to tell you that this building is going to cost you 1 million cedis, or this, and you need X amount in materials, and you need X amount in labor to be able to deliver a particular project. That's what a building technologist would do for your project.
Nice.
They are also cost experts. So they are the ones who are able to say that, look, based on the design that the architect has done, this design is too expensive, and so we need to modify the design so we're able to achieve a certain cost target. So that's what a building technologist will do as well. A building technology also help technologists to help you even in the bidding process for a project. So selecting the right architects, selecting the right contractor, managing the contractors on site, ensuring that the project is delivered according to cost specifications, design specifications, and then time specifications.
So did you work with this certificate you had?
I did a year with China State Hualong as a site engineer. We actually, my first project was the Ministry of Transport project, and then we moved to build the Marriott Hotel at Airport City.
Wow.
So
that was quick. That was a quick project.
The Marriott?
Yes.
Oh no, the Marriott took.
It took, but
It took over.
I don't know how you
10
guys did it.
It took over 10 years to finish the
I
Marriott.
don't know how you guys did it, but we just saw it.
Oh, it had been going on since 2006. And it came up, I think they opened the Marriott
I think 3,
4 or 5 years ago.
Yes.
People
Yeah,
didn't. were not
honestly,
seeing- yes.
when we just saw it, it was just up there, and a lot of us thought it was a hospital.
Oh, no.
There were a lot of lies around, Rumors, people will tell you, the airport people are building a hospital,
no,
they
no.
are trying to get a hospital closer. And so you did a year of that.
I did a year of that. And for me, I've always done everything with passion.
Okay.
Whether it's building or law or whatever, I've always enjoyed whatever I did. And I enjoyed my time with China State Hualong. I learned a lot of lessons working with engineer John and his and the team. First day on site, I'd finished university, so
Fresh.
the idea is that, and if you're an engineer or you're coming from a university, you wear a white shirt with your trousers and your shoe, and you come to site and walk around and supervise. That was the entire idea. But when I got to site, the Chinese man looked at me, at the corner of his eye, and then said something to the Chinese foreman. And then he called me, he motioned to me to come over, and I went over to him. And he gave me a wrench, or what we call a spanner.
Yeah.
And asked me to climb the scaffold.
Wow.
And loosen the scaffold.
And this was not part of the plans you had.
No, I mean, that's a laborer's work. Wow. You see, so that's a laborer's work. In construction, you would say that's a laborer's work. At most, an artisan will be doing that. But I'm coming from university, quantity surveyor, site engineer, wearing my shirt and my shoe, nicely polished shoe. Give me a wrench to climb up onto the scaffold and loosen the scaffold. And that struck a really strong chord in me. Because what it meant was that I had to come down, to a certain level. Yeah. I had to be broken to a certain level to understand what life really meant.
You had to unlearn and learn.
I had to unlearn and learn. For over a month, I was carrying timber. I was pushing the wheelbarrow. I was doing all the things that
Did
the
your
laborers
father
were
know
doing.
about this?
No, my dad.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure you ever told them.
No, I didn't tell them. My dad didn't know anything about this. And for over a month, nobody told me the next day to change my clothes, go into jeans and my sneakers and t-shirts. Nobody told me to change into that. And I did that for over a month, carrying timber, fetching water, doing this, being sent by carpenters who are supposed to be ideally taking, instructions from me, were the ones sending me the steel benders, the masons. But that was the most important lesson I needed to learn in life. And I'm sure the Chinese man, taking a look at me, realized that this guy needed to learn humility. He needed to learn that going to school didn't make you better than anybody else.
It will definitely instill some sense of teamwork in you as well.
Teamwork.
No matter how professional you are.
You are. Yeah. These are the people you work with. The carpenters, the masons, the steel benders. These are the people you work with. And these guys haven't had a day in school. So normally people would disrespect them. People would disregard them. But that experience taught me that you need to be humble. You need to treat everybody with respect. So after that, he started giving me some responsibility. Okay, watch them build this wall, watch them do this, and then they started teaching me how to use the equipment on site.
And so now you understood the practical bit of what you had studied. And you understood it from a different point of view.
And these guys are hard task masters. We're at work at 7 a.m. and we close at 7 p.m. And they used to mark me. I was marked as a laborer every day. I had a time card.
And this was not what you expected.
No. 360 degrees or 180 degrees. Totally different from my expectations. Totally different from what I expected.
But you still went through it.
I still went through it. And I didn't want to have to go and work in a traditional space like my colleagues had done. I wanted to learn. So I was very happy with that experience. And it taught me most of the lessons that I stayed with me till in the end, it's all about the soft skills. Whether you're a lawyer,
that's true.
Whether you're a doctor, an engineer, or a banker, the soft skills, or what I call the transferable skills, are the things that you need. The values of hard work, teamwork, humility, those are the things that you need to succeed anywhere. No matter where you are, you need these things to be able to succeed. Working with people from varied backgrounds, engineers, working with laborers, working with supervisors, working with people from the Ministry of Transport coming for inspections, the consultants. You learn that you need to work with a varied, group of people. And for me, those lessons have stayed with me throughout my life.
So it looks like it was a journey you were enjoying, but what informed your decision to switch from BT to law?
Well, before I went into law, I went into banking.
Okay, so banking first.
So yes. So, our Ministry of Transport was very close to where Zenith Bank started. Today we see the Zenith Bank head office on the Independence Avenue. They used to be at the Premier Towers.
Yeah.
Very close to Ministry of Transport. And that's where we were building our...
That was the first project I think you did.
That's the first project I was on. And they were very close by. And I used to see... Standing on top of our construction, I used to see people I was in school with who were working there, who had just started working there. So I was like, I would like to wear the suits.
At some point.
I would like to wear the suit at some point. Standing in the sun. It's a lot of hard work. It's fun, but it's a lot of hard work. So I said, okay, I'll try the bank as well. I didn't know that it was even tougher than, working in construction, So I applied for the job. On one of the days that I went to work, I went and dropped my CV with somebody that I knew who worked in there. And then, I was called for the interviews. I went through and then I got the job. First day, I was given I reported to work. I was a salesman, so I joined the sales team, retail banking at the time, and headed by Abiola Bewa, the regional CEO of UBA, West Africa now. And she was our group head at the time. and she's a fire woman.
I've heard so much. I mean, I heard about her in Kumasi.
Yes. So the first day I went for my first meeting. Somebody cried in the meeting. There was a young lady who cried in the meeting. So I was like, Selasie, what have you gotten yourself into? You know, like
I should have just stayed on my field.
Should I just stayed on my construction side and did my thing? But somebody cried in the meeting, and that woke me up as well. You know, that hey, this place is not a place for you to come and lounge. And I'll tell you what, that training that we got in Zenith is what has built a lot of us who went through that system. You know, it changed us from, you know, the normal, docile, nice Ghanaians to very aggressive people. We became aggressive about the things we wanted to achieve. So that's one of the key things that we picked from Zenith, being aggressive. Nobody has time to say, Selasie, come and sit down and let me teach you this.
No, you have to learn it.
You have to learn it on the job. First day, they are asking you, where are the results? Second day, there's no honeymoon period. I remember we're having orientation, and you know, when you join, there's orientation. So everybody, you think that orientation is a honeymoon, right? You just go to lunch, sit down, and then they are teaching, and then you go back home. I was in the orientation one day when my boss came and said, you are here, sitting here. Your target is waiting for you. Come out. And took me from the orientation room. I was going to look for deposits.
And you had no prior finance.
No, I had no
training whatsoever. Yours was BT. That was
BT.
what you had done.
Apart from a few years of accounting we did in BT, I had no prior experience with finance. So, but you had to learn. You had to learn on the job.
And in the course of you learning, you're being told to go out and then fetch your targets as well.
Meet your target.
Wow.
Go and meet your target. So, you know, we learned how to be aggressive at Zenith, how to, you know, get water from stone. Nobody was going to let you have anything on a silver platter. And at the time when we joined Zenith, it was tough because it was a new brand and nobody knew about Zenith. Every time you went out, you had to introduce the brand. You had to tell people what the company was about. And it was tough. People say, oh, this Nigerian bank, exactly. You want to come and run away with our money. Those were the things we used to fight, you know, in the market. But you needed to go out and bring the results in spite of all the things that were being said out there. So, and we managed to do it. And today, Zenith Bank is one of the most recognizable brands in the Ghanaian banking industry. It was done with a lot of hard work. There was a lot of hard work. People pay the price.
So do you remember the first salary you took?
Charlie, is it at China State Water National Service? They were paying us, I think, 35 CDs or 350 those days, which was 35 CDs.
3.5.
3.5. No, not 3.5. 3.5 is
3.5 is 350
Ghana
cedis.
cedis.
Right?
35.
That's 35 Ghana cedis. So 35, 350,000 then.
I don't remember what the guy, but it was like
before we did the conversion, 35 Ghana cedis was 350,000.
Right? So something like that. Something like that.
Okay.
It was 35 something. I remember something small like that. You know.
Wow.
And yes, that's what we're saying. I don't remember my first salary from Zenith, but when I moved from that and I went to Zenith and I saw my first, I was like, wow. When I showed it to my mom, who was a teacher, I was like, hey, she's never earned this in her entire career as a teacher.
So it was a good switch for you.
It was a good switch financially. I mean, at the time, I was young. I was 23 or 24, and you know, it was a good switch financially for me.
So you stayed in the banking sector for 10 years, right?
I stayed at Zenith for 6 years.
6 years.
But I've been in banking and finance
for 10
years. For more than that, for almost 16 years now. From 2006 to 2012, 2022 is 16 years.
16 years.
So I've been in the financial services industry for 16 years.
So working with China Hualong taught you to learn a different sense of humility.
Yes,
One, learn how to work in a team.
Yes.
learn how to get your hands dirty to make things actually work. You know,
Yes.
get your hands in the mud.
In the mud, yes.
What lesson, or what is the biggest lesson you describe, or what's the biggest lesson you've learned in your years in the finance sector? That's a different, you know, terrain from what you were used to earlier. What's the biggest? I want just one thing that you've learned that has stayed with you till now.
You need to be aggressive.
Okay.
Aggression. And aggression in a good way. It's not aggressive in a
Not stepping on
violent
toes.
way.
Yeah.
Yes. It means not waiting for things to come to you. Going out there and making things happen for yourself and the people around you. That for me is the most important lesson I've learned over the last 16 years. That good things don't come to those who wait. Good things come to those who go out there
go out for it.
and go for them. You know, some of these quotes we learned and all those things, they are counterproductive or counterintuitive, because you can't wait for good things to come to you. You have
My
to
mom says
work for
you
them.
negotiate for good things.
Good things.
You find it.
Exactly. And negotiation means you need to be aggressive against the things that would want to impede your progress. Going out there and arguing your way through with people, negotiating through the impediments in your way, not taking no for an answer. That's been aggressive. People tell you you have to go back 1,000 times. That's what I learned, that you can go visit a client today, a prospect today. Prospect tells you no. You go back the next day, you tell you no. If he tells you 1,000 times, if you feel that prospect has something good for you, you keep going until you get it. I mean, one example they used to tell us when we were at Zenith was about when Zenith started in Nigeria, and the managing director wanted, I think, the Guinness account, the Diageo account at the time. He used to walk across the street every day for 12 years or so.
Wow.
Until the account was won. So that kind of aggression, that kind of dedication and passion to, and singleness of purpose is what I would say has influenced my career over the last 16 years.
Nice. Thank you so much for that. Now, let's move on to DCI. After, you know, working with one of the biggest multinational banks in Africa, I mean, you just described it as such. What was the main objective, you know, behind your moving to a relatively unknown microfinance firm? This was once again you in the journey of your career making a huge switch, which probably might have not made sense to the people around you, but did make sense to you because you had a goal. What was that goal? What was that thing that was pushing you to, you know, move to such a new field?
So while at Zenith, I'd started law school. I started studying law, and I'd finished my LLB at the University of Ghana, graduated with a first class. And initially, when I started the LLB, the plan wasn't to go and take the professional course. But then once you do the LLB, it's like a bug.
Yeah.
You need to wear the wig.
Yeah.
So, you know, I went to law school. But then the schedule at law school was so tough that I couldn't combine it with work. And I asked for some time off, and it was quite a challenge getting that from Zenith. So at that time, you know, there was a whole conversation with my colleagues, Matthew especially. Matthew and I were he's my partner at DCI. He's the executive director in charge of sales and marketing at DCI. We're in the same team at Zenith, the mining and construction team. And we used to have conversations on our sales trips, and we're thinking about doing something for ourselves, you know. So we talked about studying, and at the time, Bank of Ghana had just started talking about regulating the microfinance industry. Prior to that, all you needed was a license or so, a permit from the police to be able to do money lending. at the time, Bank of Ghana was just beginning to.
I was trying to get him. I think because of the issues around Sunyane there about they had to
No,
step
that
in.
was before then. That
Okay.
was before. This was around 2011.
Okay.
When Bank of Ghana, I think, issued its first directives on the microfinance sector. And so at the time, so it was an interesting field that we thought
Yeah,
it
got a
was
lot of
an interesting
attention.
field, that if we wanted to do something for ourselves, we should do it. My partner had experience with Royal Bank of Scotland, RBS, before coming to Zenith, and he had his entire working life in the banking sector, both internationally and locally. So it's what he knew. So we're pretty, that interested in studying something in the financial services sector. So we went about, apart from talking about it, we discussed this with a few people, and we were able to get somebody to invest in the idea of starting a microfinance company. So we're naive at the time, the intention was that we would start the business and still be working at Zenith. But then Bank of Ghana said that it's not done. So we had to resign. So that was the main reason, apart from me not getting time off to go and do my law. It sort of came together nicely, and so I resigned to go and start this microfinance business
And still be able to get time for your law.
my law course. So that was why we left to start that business. And starting that business was another journey. I've had so many journeys in my life.
It's the journey, man.
So it was another remarkable journey. It's still a journey we are on. I don't think we've even scratched the surface of what we intend to do. And it's been 10 years since we started that business in 2012. We've grown from a firm with just 3 of us to now we have over 80 permanent staff and over 300 sales agents all over the country working for us. It's been a phenomenal journey for us, and in one of the toughest markets in Ghana, one of the toughest businesses in Ghana. So when you're ranking, you're listing all the financial services companies, everybody puts the microfinance industry at the bottom, right? But it's the toughest of them all. It's the toughest of them all because then you don't have some of the cushions that the banks have.
Yes.
Say if a bank couldn't meet its liquidity requirements today, it would go on the open market and borrow money from another bank, or go on the interbank market and borrow money from another bank to show up its reserves. But the microfinance, you don't have that. So you have to be able to build your own reserves at the microfinance, as a microfinance company. You need to build your own reserves to be able to take care of customers whenever they come for their funds. And these are the things we've had to navigate over the last 10 years in building our company.
Now, one of the things, since you've mentioned how difficult things are, one of the things that always comes up when conversation around microfinance comes up is, apart from those in the formal sector, you see, majority of the people in the informal sector have challenges accessing funds for their businesses. How is your company, how is DCI Microfinance working to change this trend? I say working to change it because you're still in the journey. Still on the journey. And what are some of the ways, especially young people, can raise funding for their projects? The informal sector, let's focus on that first.
All right. Okay, the starting point is to build a business.
Okay.
You see, lenders don't lend to ideas. Like a bank does not lend to finance an idea. That's for another group of funding category. So you can go to a VC, or that's a venture capital fund, or you can go to a private equity firm. They take bets on ideas.
Yeah.
But commercial banks or institutions involved in commercial banking don't finance ideas.
That's
so
very good
my
point.
my advice to young people is for young people to focus on building their businesses. First of all, get the right partners. Don't go into business alone. It's typical of Ghanaians to go into businesses alone. Don't go into business alone. If
Share
you can
the
get
risk.
if you can get a co-founder or two co-founders, so you are three founders of a business, is the best. Because then you look for friends who have different strengths and skill sets.
Yeah.
They come in, somebody who is technologically savvy, somebody who is good at marketing and sales, and somebody who's good at the core of that business, the operations of that business, the technical aspects of that business. You come together, you're building a synergy that will enable your company to thrive. So first of all, focus on building
Building a
your
business,
company.
yeah.
And when I say building your company, I'm not talking about coming up with a logo like a lot of young people do. The first thing is, oh, where's my logo? You know, they come up with the logo, then they come up with a business
Set the ball
card.
rolling, I mean,
Focus on building the cogs around which your business will run. So get the right partners to start with. Partners who are in agreement as to the direction of the business. That's the opposite of that is that a lot of people feel that, oh, you have partners and they're going to drag you back and you're going to fight and then, but if you write everything down, you clearly define,
you guys have the same goal. I
have
think
the
you
same
really-
goal, have conversations around the ideas that you have, and focus on building your product. Build your product. Then build your market. Before you think about going to borrow, build a market for the product that you have. If it's a service, design your service properly. You don't need to be 100% because you keep designing it as you go. But build it to a point where you're able to sell it. So go out there and sell. Before you think about raising money, go out there and sell. Walk the streets, and that's one of the things that I find a lot of people don't do. You need to walk the streets. You need to knock on doors. And that's one of the things I learned at Zenith as well.
Yeah, send your service to them.
When I came, I started banking. I didn't know anybody, so I couldn't say, oh, I'm going to my uncle to open an account. So we'll park the car, we'll go to, say, North Industrial Area, park the car, and we'll go building to building.
You fish for clients.
You fish for clients. So you need to do that. If you're selling food, say you're a cook, and you're selling food, you're putting on Instagram and the rest, it's fine. But you can't go to a finance company to say, I need you to give me money. They won't give you money. What you need to do is to build a client list. Build a client list. Go out there and sell your product. Walk anywhere. Don't be afraid. And that's another thing, that to succeed you need to have courage. So knock on any door. Go to YFM. Tell them that, you know what, I sell food. I want to supply your staff with food. How many staff do you have at YFM? 50. Okay, I'll supply 50 people with food every month. You come to a finance company, you tell them that, oh, look, I have an order from YFM to supply 50 people with food every month. That company is likely to say, okay, that's good. YFM is a trusted company, is a trusted institution. All right. I'll go to YFM. I'll check on this contract that you have with YFM. If YFM says it's valid, I'll give you money to fill this order. That's how you build your business. That's how you're able to raise funding from financial institutions. But if you're a startup and then you go on social media and you complain, or we are not getting funding, no, you haven't built a business. So when they ask you questions about what was your turnover last month, who are your partners?
These are things you get only when you build the business.
When you build the business. And a lot of people don't want to take a chance on one individual. But you come and say that, okay, there are three of us. We come from this background. We left our jobs to start this business. Or there are two of us. We've done this. And we've dedicated the last 1 year to building this. This is our client list. So you have a story you're telling the banker. When you go and sit in front of him, you are telling him a story.
And they're assessing the risk as well.
They're assessing the risk based on the business that you have built. Do you have a client list? How many people do you supply food to? Oh, I supply food to Guinness. I supply food to Accra Brewery.
To MTN.
To MTN. Oh, wow, that's great. So it means that if we gave money to this person,
You're
our
definitely
risk
getting
of
returns.
repayment
Yes.
is lower.
It's lower.
Because this person has varied sources of repayment. So as a young person, focus on building your business, building your client list. And that comes from working very hard, going around this town or this country, selling your product to as many people who can listen. That's how you're going to get funding from any financial institution.
Wow.
And even if you watch these shows, Shark Tank,
Yes.
you watch Lion's Den, want to keep questions they ask you: who are your
Who
customers?
are your customers? Yes. How are they? Because the whole idea is, I mean, people should basically understand. And let me just add a bit to it, because I also had a bit of, training in finance and economics. Nobody really wants to throw money into anything that is not going to pay them back. There's nothing like free money when you come to the business, realm, so when you come to the finance realm. But in order to be able to get what you need to move your brand or your company or your idea to the next level, you need to show working.
Exactly.
That's the street term. Show working. Let us know, because whoever's lending you money must definitely assess the risk. Is this person able to pay me back?
Exactly.
The company looks good on paper. You've designed, you have an Instagram page that looks so good, but then on the field, are you really selling? The product that I'm about to invest in, or the product that you're getting the loan facility for, are you able to really sell it? Who are the people buying from you? If I see the people who are buying, then I definitely know that, okay, if the money goes and it doubles your product, because I can, invest in your business or give you the money to do whatever you want to do. You will double your outputs, have a lot of products on the market. But if nobody is buying, if you can't sell, then you're wasting time. So that's what basically Selasie is talking about. But I mean, you've shared so much with us. I feel the information is even too free at this point. Like, if I go open mobile money account, make people say, no, these are crucial things. And I mentioned that earlier, young people all around the world, including Ghana, want to know how things work, okay? Every now and then you see people setting up businesses, and when you watch shows like Shark Tank, you see somebody walking with a very brilliant idea, but nobody wants to invest.
Yes.
It's not the idea, the business bit of it.
Exactly.
What is really happening on the ground? Have you sold something?
Have you
kicked it off? Have you been able to assess the risks yourself? What are the dangers involved in doing business with you? What are the risks? What are the things, the perks? What can go wrong? You tell me that. When you tell me that, I will assess and let you know. Now, I'm sure all this are part of the things and the services that DCI offers. Okay, so at this point, I just want to find out from you, what are some of the unique products? Since we are on that tangent, what are some of the unique products, DCI Microfinance has to offer individuals and young people in particular? That's my focus. And then groups of people who are keen on raising capital to, get into their startups.
Okay. Thank you very much. What we do at DCI is to provide funding for small businesses that are able to source orders from blue chip companies or institutions that are credit worthy. So, like I was describing, if you're a young business and you have an order from, say, an MTN or a Nestle or a Guinness or any of these blue chip companies, and you're struggling to fund it, we are the company to come to.
Yes.
That is what we do. So we would discount if you've done the work and you're looking for money to go and fill another order, we will discount that receivable and give you money to go and do that. If you want us to pre-finance an order, we will do that as well. So I give a typical example. We have a client who works with Nestle. He does branding for Nestle. We started with him at a very young age. He first walked to us with an order from Nestle to, I think he was doing t-shirts for Nestle or branding for Nestle or something. Once we saw the order, went to Nestle, we verified that. Nestle said, oh, this is an authentic order from us. And then we gave him the money. He delivered on it. Nestle paid, and we got our money.
And you got your money. And he got what he
wanted. So based on that, because he was able to fill that order, Nestle gave him more. Okay, oh, this guy, he didn't just take the contract and then struggle for 3 months and then came back empty-handed.
He did provide.
He provided what? So Nestle said, okay, it looks like you have the capacity to be able to deliver on bigger contracts.
And he gave you guys the power to actually do more for him as well.
We did more for him as well. And so that's what we do for a lot of the business. We've grown companies to the point where now the banks are interested in them. Now the banks want to give them money. Previously, the banks wouldn't do that. So our model is, if you have an order, if you have a contract and you're struggling to finance it, come to us. We'll be able to help. We'll help you do that. If you're a government worker and you wanted a loan, you came to us, we would give you a loan as well. Once you have the affordability, we would give you the loan. So those are the key lending products that we offer the public. Then we have deposit products, which are fixed deposits. So if you had an investment, if you had money and you were looking for a place to put it, Diamond Capital or DCI Microfinance is the place to put it. DCI has been in this business for the last 10 years. We've shown that we're robust, we're resilient, and we're here to stay. We've gone through the storm. The last 4 years have seen a storm blow in the financial services sector. A lot of companies are falling, but we've stood strong. We've built the company to a point where we're able to confidently say that we're one of the strongest microfinance companies in Ghana.
You have a good track record.
We have a good track record. When our clients request for their liquidations, we're able to deliver that same day,
in time,
irrespective of what the amount is. We've never once in 10 years asked the client to give us time to give us some 3 months. Let us find some money for you.
Business with your money.
No. We've never. And it comes from really understanding the industry in which we are. So, like I said, you need to have the right partners. Like one of my partners, Sam was at Zenith as well. He used to work in treasury operations at Zenith, and then he became a salesman at Zenith, a relationship manager at Zenith. So he understands banking, the operations of it as well. So we have a solid treasury team. We have, we don't invest all our funds into loans. We have huge reserves. Over 40% of our funds sit in reserves with banks and other government instruments. So we build the liquidity to be able to provide clients with their funds whenever they request. So come to DCI if you have a deposit, if you're looking to invest somewhere, come to us. We would provide you with
let us
rates
quickly chip this one in. You're saying come to us. How and where can interested persons, access your unique
So we're a multi-channel organization. So you can find us on Facebook.
Okay.
You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on LinkedIn.
Okay.
You can find us on Instagram. We're on TikTok as well, right?
Hey.
You can find us. You can find us on YouTube. So and then physically, our office is in Asalam Down.
Okay.
So and then our phone numbers are on our social media pages.
Just search for DCI.
You can WhatsApp us directly. You can call us on 0577 669346.
Okay.
That's
and I forgot to ask. So it's Diamond.
No, it's DCI Microfinance.
Okay. What does it stand for?
Diamond Capital Investments Microfinance.
Okay.
But the registered name is DCI.
All right, sure.
Because Bank of Ghana doesn't allow us to use the capital, the name the word capital in our names.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So I'm going to take questions from you guys as well at this point. 0202222073. That's the official WhatsApp line. If you have any question for Selasie, send it through. He's right here with us. The hashtag on Twitter is YLeaderboard Series. Ken decided to just shorten it as YLBS. That's the hashtag, the second hashtag. Ken just designed this yesterday. So send your questions through. We'll take them. But while we wait for you, I want to find out, we've said so much about business and your career journey and the ups and the downs and all that. Let's talk about family. What kind of family do you have? Your own family that you've created.
Okay.
What family do you have and how do you balance? This is a question I'm sure you might have heard before. You sound like a very busy man. How do you balance, family life and then, your work life?
Okay, so I have 3 children.
Beautiful.
Youngest is 5 and the oldest is 10.
Okay.
And then I have a 7-year-old in the middle. Crazy 7-year-old in the middle. The second children are always, the
ones
handful.
in between,
The number 2, they're always a handful, right? So she's living up to that reputation.
Great. Any of them picking? Have you seen interest in any of them towards your work?
My my first son, he says he wants to build homes for people.
Beautiful.
So, which means that he wants to be a real estate developer. So I'm encouraging him to do that, because that's good business, and he sees the opportunities in that a lot of people don't have homes. That he wants to build homes for people from the lowest to the highest.
Yeah.
So he sees the opportunity. So he wants to be a businessman, and I'm happy that he doesn't want to, unlike my father who wanted lawyers and doctors. I'm happy that he wants to be a businessman. That's the path that I'm happy he wants to thread. Yes.
But that's work take a lot of your time. You still find time?
Work does, but I felt we do that. We make the journey to work together, to work and school together in the morning. So that gives us at least an hour to bond.
Yeah.
Then I hardly get home early, so we are not able to do anything in the evenings. But on the weekends, we spend a lot of time together. My kids and I are learning karate.
Okay.
So my son and I are green belts, and my daughter is a yellow belt.
Okay, any of you guys are black belt?
No,
Not yet.
but
that's the highest rank, right?
That's the highest.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that by the end of next year, I'll get to a black belt.
You start fighting the financial system.
Yes, because I'm grading for a purple belt in May. So from that, I'll go to purple 2, then I'll go to
Wait,
brown.
are your workers aware of this part of your life?
I think they've heard it. They've heard it. They've seen.
So the thing is, you see, when it comes to physical, we did.
Yeah, we did.
When it comes to the finance
we
too,
did.
we did. But beyond all this, personally, what do you do for fun when you're free, when you're not with the kids, when you're not karate, learning?
I listen to music, I watch movies, and I'm on social media a lot.
Which of them? Which of them are you?
I've discovered TikTok. TikTok is the funnest place to be these days, with all the skits and everything on TikTok. Yeah,
What kind of songs do you like to listen to?
Like, my taste in music is eclectic. Like, I like from pop
to rap,
to Afro pop to.
So if I put you on the spot, would you be able to do your favorite rap song?
No, Charlie.
You can't.
My wife would.
Your wife?
My wife is a rapper.
Yeah, she knows
so
the lyrics.
she can rap Jay-Z, Nas, she can do all that. But
man, you need to
I can't.
You need to do better, man.
I can't.
You need to win one for us.
I can't.
Man.
She used to be a rapper in Motown, phenomenal.
Yeah.
So she even had a stage name.
Wow.
So she can rap,
I
can't.
It sounds interesting. Anyways, so I'm going to get into the questions from our listeners in a bit, but let me quickly remind all of us that this show is proudly sponsored by CarBank. Forward together, of course, MTN Ghana. So CarBank says being a good citizen mustn't cost you your convenience, okay? Conveniently, and the emphasis is on conveniently, pay all your taxes, your duties, your SNIT Tier 1 contributions and other payments due the government using any of their digital channels, including the CarBank app, the *771# CarNet, or at any CarBank branch via the Ghana.gov payment platform. So you can also pay your ECG bills alongside that, pay your water bills, your DSTV, your GoTV bills, all on the CarBank app. *771# has just a magic short code, or at any of our agent locations, just to keep the entertainment going, okay? So you don't need to cut your entertainment or be put in any tight corner just because you can't get access to payment or paying all that you have to pay for. And this is done not only for CarBank account holders, okay? You don't have to hold a CarBank account in order to get this done. In addition, you can actually visit the NIA Premium Center at our CarBank head office to apply, renew, or replace your Ghana card, and also foreigners' identity cards as well. To learn more, okay, if you're interested, call us on 0800 500 500 or chat with us online across any of our social media platforms. Send us an email, send it through customercare@carbank.net, CarBank forward together. And MTN also says a big thank you to you all, their lovely customers, with special freebies to celebrate your special anniversary on the network. So they're saying if you've been a part of the Yellow family, that's the MTN family, from 5, 10, 15 or 20 years, MTN will actually spice up your special milestone with a whole 3 hours of MTN to MTN talk time, of course up to 1.5 gigabytes of data to keep up with the family and share the day with everyone online. So they're saying a big thank you, and they say big ups to you for being on Ghana's #1 telecommunications network. Just keep doing you, keep being yourself on Ghana's favorite telecommunications network. Selasie, between mentoring, okay, access to capital and creation of job opportunities, which comes top on your list of priorities for the youth? Should I go right again?
Yes.
So between mentoring or mentorship, access to capital, which we've discussed already, creating job opportunities, which of these comes top? I mean, they are all important on your list of priorities for the youth. If we're directing the youth towards the right path, or if we're moving towards the future that we're all looking at, which of these two would you place first?
Job creation.
Job creation.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, work gives you dignity. Apart from what you get in terms of receiving a salary or making money from work, work gives you dignity. And for everybody, that's one of the most important things. You want to feel that you count and that you matter. So, and I see that there's a lot of unemployment. There are a lot of people who I see, you wake up in the morning, you see them there, you come back in the evening, they're still sitting where they were sitting, and you wonder how they live. And so job creation for our teeming youth is the most important thing. If we had everybody who could working, Ghana would be 10 times more prosperous than it is right now. If we had all our young people coming out of school having work to do, imagine what it would do for our housing industry. Like, they are able to afford a mortgage because the person has work. So the mortgage company can lend to more people. The real estate company can borrow because there's a huge demand.
There's a huge market, exactly.
And the demand is not just, we have a housing shortage. There's real, in economics, real demand, where the person is able to actually pay for the house. So imagine what that does for our economy. And that's how some countries have grown. By creating jobs, for making sure that people have jobs, you're able to build several other industries whilst doing that. The housing boom in America in the 40s and 50s, because there was work. After World War II, there was work, and so people could go into the suburbs. Huge cities grew up overnight because people had the purchasing power. So jobs are key for Ghana's growth. If we see Ghana, wherever we see Ghana in the next 50 years, it's going to be based on how quickly we are able to put our people to work as a country. So job creation is primary.
Great. Now, we're here with DCI at this point. I mean, you're still at the top running things for the company. You're trying to get a black belt, maybe a purple in about a month. You're still running your family. Everything is going well. You still have your music. You watch your movies. And what is next for Selasie? Do you have any new journey, or we'll get there and cross?
Well, there's so many journeys ahead of me. We're still building DCI. We haven't, like I said, we haven't scratched the surface of what we want to do. But my journey with DCI is to build the next generation of leaders of the company, the people who are going to be handling the company in a few years. Because, I can't remain as CEO forever. My executive directors can't remain there forever. If Bank of Ghana could come up with regulations tomorrow that says that you can't be CEO for more than 12 years, and I've been CEO for nearly 10 years, so it means that I have to exit. And I've never seen the position as mine. I've always seen myself as a steward, and so I need to prepare the next generation of leaders for the company, and that's what I'm focused on now. I'm focused on building Diamond 2.0, where we're moving from what we're doing currently to a digital bank, where we are offering 90% of our services on digital platforms, where you can sit wherever you are in Ghana and across the continent and access our products or our services. That's the focus for the next 5 years. For us at Diamond, and that's what we're working together with my board and the team at Diamond, we're working on Diamond 2.0, moving from where we are today to a fully fledged digital institution.
Right. All right. Thank you so much. And I mean, I appreciate the fact that you came through this morning to share this with us. I call it a gem. I pick bits and bits of, your life and put it together in a few words. I mean, you are a man on a journey, and you don't frown at new opportunities. You go for them, and you get in there with zero knowledge, and you earn all that you know through the quest to learn more.
Yes.
And so we wish you the very best in your journeys in the future, but we are super grateful. The Leaderboard Series show, of course, the production team, Global Media Alliance, YFM, my listeners in particular, we're very grateful to you for, making this happen this morning. I just look forward to conversations around, all the things you shared. You just spent 10 minutes talking about how people can get funding, and I loved it. So I would love for us to, have features in the course of, the month on the station, to plug in things like this. That would help, drive the youth towards that direction we're all trying to go. So thank you so much. But before I let you go, any final words to young people listening at the moment, the youth, your clients, anybody you like to...
Right. Thank you very much, Reverend S. King, for this opportunity. It's been a delightful conversation. You've made me remember things that I haven't thought about in decades. So thank you very much. My final word to the youth, 3 things, maybe more than that. You need to be courageous. You need to have courage, because the number one thing that keeps us where we are is fear. So you're afraid you will fail. You're afraid when you knock on that door, they would send you out, or you don't speak good enough English, or you're not tall enough, or you're not pretty enough, or you're not handsome enough, or you're not learned enough. So fear keeps you where you are. Be courageous. That's the number one thing. Have courage and take the step. What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? Then number 2, live a life of no excuses. Don't give yourself an excuse. Don't justify your fear with an excuse. Don't say, oh, his father, set him up. Oh, this guy, he inherited the money from his mother. So you use those things to excuse your own inaction. So number 2, don't live on the land of excuses. 3, stemming from the excuses that you give or you don't give, you need to take full responsibility for your life.
Yeah, it's
and
your
your
life.
Decisions, your actions, the things you do, the things you say, the people you meet, the opportunities you give up, the opportunities you take, whether you go to school and finish school, whether you stay in school or drop out, the courses you choose, the people you choose as partners, your wives, your girlfriends, you must take, or your boyfriends, you must take full responsibility for the decisions that you take in life. That's the only way you're going to make it. 4th, you should be aggressive about everything.
Aggression.
In life. Don't wait for things to happen to you. It goes back to being courageous. Go out there and search for fish. Don't wait for anybody to bring you fish. And that's the plug that the young people have been talking about. That's the plug to life.
All right, thank you so much, boss, for this morning. I mean, I've already said thank you. If you give me the chance, I'll say more thank you. It's been a delightful journey, as you mentioned. 23 minutes,
great.
23 minutes after 11. Right here on your favorite urban music station, Y107.9. We just wrapped up the Lord's work. Big shout and thank you going out to production team Ken and Ella, our DJ Ganj, and of course the entire team on the Leaderboard Series platform. Big thank you going out to our sponsors, Carbank, Forward Together, MTN, everywhere you go, and then high five to
Congratulations, you found the one station that plays Ghana's best urban music.
YFM.